Hi everybody and welcome to Skill Up. My name is Ahmed Akbari. I'm IELTS speaking instructor and I usually record my lessons in my classes. In our today's class, we talked about IELTS speaking part 3 and our focus was on last minute tips which are important for you to keep in mind. As you know, IELTS speaking part 3 is more challenging compared to the other parts of IELTS speaking because you are supposed to discuss abstract ideas and also you're supposed to give longer answers compared to part 1. So it seems that if we keep in mind some important tips which helps us to have a better performance, it can help us to improve our scores. So if your IELTS speaking test is approaching and you aren't sure about IELTS speaking part 3 important points, I think watching this video can help you to review those important points that you are supposed to remember before taking IELTS speaking part 3. Thanks a lot. I hope watching this video help you to understand some important points about IELTS speaking part 3. Okay, my friends, thank you. And this is the last session, and these are the last minutes that we are having together. First of all, I wanted to thank you for your participation in this during this semester. You were so great. All of you made considerable progress the day that you came here. You were completely different now. You're far better than you started, and this is the importance of regular practice. You managed to make this progress because of your regular practices, and as I told you before, the only way to improve speaking is just speaking. It is not just about thinking. The more you speak, the better you will get at speaking. So don't forget that this is your mind map. And since this is our last session, I won't see you anymore here in this class. The only thing that I want you to remember is regular practice till your test day. This is the only way that guarantee a higher score. And the last minute tips for IELTS speaking part 3. I want you to remember me and remember these bullet points before starting your IELTS speaking part 3. Okay? So first of all, let me turn it off. Okay, so let's check them one by one. First of all, in the beginning of the IELTS speaking part 3, please remind yourself of the topic card to be prepared for the topic of the discussion. It plays a key role. Imagine that you have talked about this topic card. Describe a time that you were traveling and your vehicle broke down. So basically, we can say that the discussion would be about traveling and tourism. Describe a creative person you admire. So basically, the questions in part 3 will be about creativity. Describe a website you usually visit. Questions in part 3 will be about the internet. Most of IELTS candidates who are aware of the topic card that they have talked about can prepare themselves faster for the topic of discussion. And when you are prepared for the possible area of discussion, without a doubt, you will have a better performance. Remind yourself of the topic card. 2, pause before answering. Please don't be in a hurry for answering the questions. IELTS speaking part 3 questions are abstract, are general, and mostly complicated to be answered. So when you just jump into answering the question, it is a little bit awkward, strange. And as your examiner, I expect you to think before answering me. When you start answering immediately, you give the signal of memorizing. And it is not that much professional. So pause before answering. We talked about 3 ways of starting your answers. The first one was buying time, particularly for the questions that are really complicated to be answered. As you remember, we discussed about this technique. First of all, take a deep breath and repeat the key words. Do you think robots will replace teachers? Okay, replacing teachers with robots. Such a difficult question. Let me see. We don't want to pretend anything. We don't want to wear a mask. This question is difficult for me, and I'm thinking, this is exactly what the examiner expects. So be real, be natural. 2, personal or general reaction. What's the difference between the work of nurses and doctors? As a person who has been working as a nurse for 10 years, I think I'm the right person to answer this question. What do you think parents and children usually argue about? As a person who always argue with his parents, I'm a good person to answer your question. I have a lot to say. These 2 ways make your answers very natural. They show that this is a genuine communication. 3, avoid. Please remember this strategy. Maybe there's one question that your mind is completely empty for answering. Do not try to, show off. Do not try to hide this fact. Communicate. Avoiding. To tell you the truth, this is the first time I'm encountered with this question. There's nothing on my mind to talk about. But if I'm supposed to make a guess, I would say, this is honesty. And as you know, honesty is the best policy. You are not ChatGPT. You are not an AI tools. So at least for one question, you have this right to say that. And I want you to think about this idea from another perspective. So if you don't say like this, if you don't communicate, if you don't say that, okay, there's nothing on my mind, you will force yourself to give an answer. And unfortunately, because there is nothing on your mind, your answer will be either off topic or not maybe related to the question. So you just make the situation more difficult for yourself when there's nothing on your mind. Okay? For one of the question, just one of the question, you have this chance to avoid. 3, identify the focus of the question. As we discussed, knowing the focus of the question is very important. When you're answering the question, ask yourself, am I supposed to compare 2 things? Am I supposed to choose from A and B? Am I supposed to provide a solution? Am I supposed to analyze a cause-relationship effect? Am I supposed to predict the future? What should I do right now? Knowing the focus, identifying the focus of the question, will allow you to explore the idea efficiently. And also, it prevents you from going off topic because you know the focus, you know how to extend your idea based on what you have been asked to. Ask for clarification. Next step. Please, my friends, if there's a specific word that you don't know, as Mani did today. Sorry, what do you mean by applications? What do you mean by consumerism? What do you mean by scientific breakthroughs? This is your right to know the question. So if there is a word, what do you mean by? If you're not certain about the question, pardon me, are you asking me that? Paraphrase what you have understood to make sure what you have understood is exactly what the examiner wants. If you start answering when you're not sure, going off topic will be inevitable. You're just losing mark because of something very simple, because you didn't have the courage to ask the examiner, did I understand it effectively? And it is all okay. You will be under stress on your test day, and you may be confused because the high level of stress, you may not understand what you're hearing. So make sure you know what you are being asked. And if you need to hear the question again, would you mind repeating the question again? I didn't understand it. Be real in communication. This is examiner wants. Avoid repetition the question. Do not repeat the question word by word. It is not a good idea. Because what you're repeating is not your genuine words. This is not your language. You're repeating what I said. Instead of repeating the question word by word, you can paraphrase it, if you would like to. If you don't want to paraphrase, start answering it. But if you're kind of person who likes paraphrasing the question before answering, you paraphrase it. But do not repeat the question, the words in question. Next, maintain an analytical point of view. This is super important. Because if you lose if you lose an analytical point of view, you will be giving a list of ideas, which is a red line in IELTS speaking, is a red flag. If you're just giving me a list of ideas, so you're not discussing anything. Discussion requires an analytical point of view. And also, as you remember, as we discussed it in the first part of this semester, whenever you are discussing something with someone else, you are supposed to prove your idea. And when you maintain this analytical point of view, on the one hand, you will guarantee a standard length of answer. You'll make sure your answer is long enough to be considered as a standard answer. Apart from that, you are proving your idea, which is a requirement in IELTS speaking, part 3. So please do not give me a list of ideas. Try to maintain this analytical point of view and explore your main idea by, different things that we have learned. Advantages, disadvantages, results. And as you remember, breaking down your ideas, it is super helpful, particularly by saying particularly, when you are discussing a general question. As you remember, we learned this technique in the question, which was, what is the difference between young people and elderly citizen when they see new things, when they face new things? And as you remember, we understood that if we break down the idea just into advertisement, okay, it would be easier for us to explore. Yeah? Because when you say, okay, what is the difference between them? There are lots of differences. Which one should I start talking about? But when you say young adults and elderly citizens have a completely different attitude towards new things, particularly about advertisement, you are giving yourself a space for exploring your idea. Otherwise, you will be blocked when you don't break down the idea. And the next thing, rounding off your answer, this is what Minu asked me, this is what Parry asked me, what should I do? For answering it, I want you to notice the question that you're answering. For example, your question is why, okay? And you are at the end of your answer. There's nothing on your mind to be explored anymore. And you want to round it off. So you can use this as structure. So because of these two reasons, I believe that it might happen. Imagine your question is solution. So these solutions, I believe, that are super helpful for overcoming this challenge. Your question is comparing. So these two differences are the most noticeable ones from my point of view. Your question is prediction. So this is what I predict in the future, okay? Or maybe, I don't know, the question is classification. So these are the two types. These are the two things that I can mention regarding these questions, okay? So this is what you're supposed to do as a rounding off. What's your question?
That wouldn't be repetition because for...
Such a nice question. You mean that if I repeat them?
At first I said because of two aspects.
Exactly. This is normal. Did you understand the question, Nilufer asked? So, if I just repeat the same thing that I said in the beginning, isn't it a repetition of the idea? First of all, you don't copy the words. And two, you paraphrase it at the end. Okay? And as you may know, Nilufer, mostly the conclusion is somehow restating. It is normal. You do that in writing, yeah? In your conclusion, you restate your idea. You somehow review them. So do this here. Because you mentioned two reasons. You mentioned two, classes. You mentioned two solutions while you were speaking. And maybe you feel that the examiner may have forgotten them. You review them to reinforce your idea. And to round it off, because when you suddenly stop talking, it would be so strange for me. Imagine that someone is talking and someone, I don't know, stop talking. And there would be a sense of frustration between both of you. The examiner thinks, what should I do? Should I continue? Do you have anything else to add? Should I wait for you to continue? What should I do? You just make the situation a little bit confusing. But by rounding it off, it would be understandable for me as your examiner that, okay, this is the end of the answer, so I can ask another question. It facilitates your communication when you round off. Okay? So I don't want to waste your time anymore. These are the things that you're supposed to remember. Good luck. Wish you all the best. Have a great day. You're welcome.